Nobody bats 300 anymore because the value of hitting a fly ball, which could eventually become a home run, is so much more valuable. It's when the shift in the NBA went from 2-pointers to 3-pointers. Well, if I can make 40% of my threes, I'm just going to jack threes all over the place. There's more value in that. Well, there's more value in just like ripping driver most of the time.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You're legendary. I'm legendary. And both of these guys love each other. Right? Cam Ward, they do. They work out. They work out. Legendary.
Go ahead.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Shador Sanders.
Yep.
250 plus and 2 tutties each.
Amazing. That's nuts.
What? Why is it nuts?
Come on, that's crazy.
Why, though?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
I think this is a very tough one. I haven't bet this because I still think it's that close. I would lean towards the sentiment of the voter body instead of the anointing of the new star. But at a certain point, the next 2 weeks, Drake May could be undeniable. It's really interesting market right for those two. And remember when Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play all year? Remember in August where he wasn't practicing? And now he is number 2 for MVP. So go figure.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here. As always, we have a great show for you today. Some sex scandals over there at the University of Michigan. Ooh. Some trade scandals with the New York Mets. Some professional scandals or stories involving me, I suppose. And it's going to be a great show. Let me just say, I will acknowledge a little bit later on this morning the news that I'm returning to WFN Sports Talk Radio in New York City. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. I promise you, I've not said a word about it publicly or typed anything about it publicly, so this will be the first opportunity I have to speak on it and for you to hear, I guess, my take on what's going on. But it is official. I am returning in January to the Fan. I'm also staying right here. This show we're in it for the long haul. Myself, Tyrone, the guys downstairs, and the people I work for, Red Seat Ventures, fully committed to this for the long haul. We're blessed with great success only 3 months in, and just hope to continue to build this and build this and build this. And for those of you that maybe only know me or Tyrone through this show, many of you know both of us through my work in New York or on Fox. Tyrone, of course, in Philadelphia. We are not going anywhere, and this show will just be a compliment to my going back to the Fan in the afternoons coming up in January, and whatever else Tyrone does career-wise as well. So I just wanted to put that out there at the top. More on it later for sure, and we'll even do, I don't know, like a podcast on it or something like that a little bit later on. Just to, a little bit in depth.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I'm a sucker for a good sex scandal, baby.
Oh, yeah?
I'm a sucker for a sex scandal. And you people in Michigan, you're starting to act like those people in Penn State, all right? Where all of a sudden you want me to believe like you just woke up to the fact that Sherrone Moore was allegedly sleeping with and allegedly impregnating a staffer, a glorified secretary, if you will, for the Michigan Athletic Department.
Yeah.
But the story's crazy.
Crazy.
So as the story goes, Sherrone Moore, who of course replaced Harbaugh, was on the staff after the national championship game. He is married with children. That's part of the story. And was allegedly having an affair with a young woman who was working for the Michigan Athletics Department, all right?
Yes.
Okay, story as old as time, all right? That's not new to anybody. That happens in every workplace, in every city in America. For poor Sherrone Moore, it's playing out publicly because he's the head coach of the Michigan football team, all right? So clearly people in Michigan knew that he was having some type of affair, allegedly, with this young gal, all right?
For sure.
They had to have known because people with loose lips, and there's a reason why the girl's salary doubled when he became head coach. So, okay, he's cheating on his wife. He's having an affair. If the story ended there, still not great. Michigan might still have decided to fire him. Probably not, based on their history of hiring and keeping employed people that do dumb things.
Yes.
Or even quote-unquote bad things or untoward things. But, whatever. There were whispers. People were talking about it. But, Michigan had not yet been eliminated from the tournament. So nobody does anything. Nobody says anything, okay?
Yes.
But then yesterday, the story takes a crazy turn, where not only does he get fired for the quote-unquote inappropriate relationship with a fellow staffer, he then allegedly threatens his own life and maybe some other people's lives by holding a knife to his throat. The police get involved because his now bitter wife, rightfully so, by the way, tells police where he is by pinging him on his phone. The police then go to the house that he's at, allegedly holding a knife to his throat and threatening to kill the girlfriend and himself. The police then arrest him and put him in protective custody, and all the while, Rome is burning. So he's fired from the job, $6 million a year. Out the door.
Gone.
All right, through 2030, so do the math, $30 million, gone forever. He might have gotten another girl pregnant. That has not been confirmed.
That's not confirmed.
So we'll leave that out. And I want to be clear. I am specifically not mentioning the girl's name because I don't know how much of the story is 100% accurate and what's not. I will say this, though. She cannot play the innocent babe in the woods routine either.
No.
If you're on the Michigan staff and you are having an affair with the head coach, you know he's married, you know he has children. So you're doing that willingly also. I'm not saying that you should rot in hell, all right? But, you're not the greatest person either. And I can accept the fact, I fell in love and it was overwhelming. That happens. I accept all that. Mm-hmm. But she's not a babe in the woods either.
Also, from all the reports, she's not a 19-year-old either. So she wasn't.
She's in her 20s?
Yeah. I think she's in her lower 30s, according to the report.
She's an adult woman.
Yeah, so this wasn't a situation where there was a power imbalance, but he wasn't taking advantage of a youthful person.
Which is important, because when you first read the story, you're thinking 19-year-old sophomore.
Right.
And she's not that. She's an adult woman who's been around a little bit. She is essentially a secretary for the athletic department. Mm-hmm. But, there's a couple aspects to it. Number one, should that be enough to get you fired? Should Michigan have fired him solely because he might be sleeping with a fellow member of the staff?
Now, let me ask you this. There were Reddit reports from the fans that people have now found going back to September.
Yeah.
Where fans were aware of this happening.
Okay. So everybody knew about it.
So everybody knew. It happened all season long, no firing.
So then here's the reality. I'm not even going to ask the question I was going to ask. I'm just going to make the statement. Mm-hmm. And I feel pretty comfortable about the statement. If this was the scuttlebutt on the Michigan campus going back to September, and apparently it was, there's Reddit accounts that can be dated, and you can see the fact that it's out there.
Yes.
Because it's hard for the head coach of Michigan to hide that type of an affair, okay?
Right.
Let's just accept that. Then Michigan, while they don't, it's weird, right? Like, Michigan shouldn't be blamed for what he did. He should be blamed for what he did, and she should be blamed for what they did, right?
Yes.
But there's no doubt in my mind, if Sherrone Moore was leading the Michigan Wolverines into the tournament, this would not have come out. He would not have been fired. And then the sad things that happened after the firing, like I talked about, the threat of suicide and murder and a knife and all that stuff, never would have happened.
If they beat Ohio State, they get into the tournament, and it's totally different.
Yeah, and that's the reality here. Like, we can all kind of wave our fingers and put on our noses at the situation and call him a bad guy and, she's a hoe and all that kind of stuff if you want to. But the reality is that if Michigan was aware of it, they told you the only thing they care about.
Yep.
He only got fired because they didn't make the playoff. Sherrone Moore did not get fired because he was having an affair with a subordinate.
No.
He didn't. Because if he did get fired for that, that would have happened back in September or October or November.
Absolutely.
But it didn't.
It didn't.
Right?
They had ample time to do this.
It's like, I know. Look, we saw the Urban Meyer story with the girl on his lap in the bar. Yeah, we know about all the stories. Like I said, it's a story as old as time.
Bobby Petrino at Arkansas on the motorcycle. He's ended up in a neck brace, hires his girlfriend. His was a little bit worse than that. He found the girl, hired her to the staff.
Right.
Basically to have a place to
Michigan alumni, Michigan fans, and I love you, I do, okay? Michigan fans cannot play the game today of the, we're the holier than thou game, we handle business according to a strict moral code. No, you don't. You're not BYU.
Yeah, stop
BYU's
lying.
the only school that does, right?
Right.
You allowed this to go on. You didn't investigate it. You weren't concerned about it because Michigan was still alive for a postseason tournament berth.
Yep.
As soon as Michigan lost to Ohio State and they weren't going to the tournament, the investigation began.
Yes, and then it takes a certain amount of time once you do the investigation. It's a public school, so all these records will be available.
Yeah.
So they couldn't fire him like the day after because then they'll go, well, where's the investigation? This is a state school.
Oh, you got to investigate it.
So they had to investigate it and then gone with calls out of there.
And by the way, he is fired with cause because there are your moral clauses in the contract, and he's going to have to fight and sue them for the money. No guarantee he gets the money. They may want to write a check just to get rid of it because nobody's going to want these emails to get out, obviously,
Discovery,
or pictures or videos, any of that stuff. But what a crazy day. And now there's not even arguably the greatest job available is now right there.
Right there.
Like the Michigan football coaching job is a top 3 job in this country.
100%.
Which for me means I got to come up with the new head coach.
Yeah.
And I've already got it.
Oh, boy.
I've already got the new head coach of Michigan. Huh? It's not even debatable that if I'm Michigan, what I do. And the guy may seem ungettable. He's gettable.
Oh.
How about that?
You gonna mention that on the other side?
On the other side, we'll get into that. And Pete Alonso coming up as well.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. The Lions will make the playoffs this season. Buy or sell?
I believe that's what the computer tells us, right? They are almost exactly 50-50 to make the playoffs now after that win. Now, it's sort of the game I'm going to play here when we talk about the Cowboys making the playoffs. If you're going to put Detroit in, Craig, who are you taking out? All right? I mean, they're not, even with the win last night, they're not in the playoff spot right now. They're still the 8th seed here. You taking out San Fran? I mean, their schedule's cake. They should get in. Green Bay beat you twice. I mean, so you would probably need, for them to make the playoffs, Seattle's the other team, by the way, I think Seattle gets in. You would need Green Bay or Chicago, really. What they're ready for is one to beat the other. They do play each other twice, to beat them twice, right? They can't have a split here. They need either Chicago to beat Green Bay twice or Green Bay to beat Chicago twice, sort of eliminate the other team. So I am probably selling this. I do think there's a chance here. You look at the Lions' schedule, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago, the last 2 are on the road.
Yeah, I think that I'm on board here with you. In the AFC, Detroit would be in. But in the NFC, you have to make a prediction to knock a team out. Now, like as an example, in the NFC East, could you see a scenario, George, where Philadelphia just completely falls apart like they did 2 years ago? Sure, but then they still would win the division. Like you really can't find a path for the Lions unless, for me, I guess the team that I would question the most to make it and knock them out would be the Bears. Like that would be it. It would be just the Bears playing the softer schedule. I know they beat Philadelphia last week, but I just can't do it right now. So unfortunately, this could be a 11-win season, 10-win season for Detroit without them getting in. I will sell. They will not make it. I'm with you here.
Fantasy Sports Today, Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here, as always. It's shocking news. I thought Pete Alonso was going to lead the show today, going to the Baltimore Orioles for $31 million a year, 5 years, $1.55, and Met fans apoplectic about it. We'll get to that in a second. Don't think we won't. But I want to be clear. Sherrone Moore was not fired because he slept with someone on the staff, and you got to change the narrative on that. Yeah, I know that's the easy story.
Right.
Michigan did an investigation. Michigan takes workplace harassment very seriously, and we're not going to tolerate blah, blah. It's nonsense. It's nonsense because apparently the rumors were out there for a long time. On the Michigan campus. People were talking about it openly on Reddit and other social media sites, and Michigan didn't do anything about it. Because there was the thought that Sherrone Moore was going to lead them back into the top 12 and obviously a chance to win a national title. Or at least beat Ohio State. I mean, right?
They had won 4 in a row.
Because it wasn't like he just met the girl last week and hooked up with her.
No.
The girl's been on the staff for a couple years now.
For years, yeah.
When he took over, her salary doubled. Now you know why.
Yeah.
And it's again proof. I talk about this with Lil Wayne all the time. All right? It's again proof. This might be on my tombstone.
Yeah, shout
when
to
I
Wayne.
die in 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Vagina's undefeated.
Undefeated.
Like, I mean, how many more stories do we have to bring to you for you not to wrap your head around that? We all pretend like we're in charge and, it ain't. We're not. None of us. We're powerless to its powers. It's like Superman's kryptonite.
It beat up Father Time. It did. It beat Father Time. Nothing
Here's
beats
a guy, by all accounts, with a happy, good marriage.
Yeah.
Has beautiful children. They're living a gilded life. Harbaugh leaves, recommends him to stay on, has become the head coach. The head coach of Michigan brings in a certain amount of fame and power and a mystique. Right. Because it's one of those programs, whether it's Bo Schembechler or Lloyd Carr or, you name your favorite Michigan coach.
And you've had great players there. Woodson as the Heisman winner.
Woodson, Brady, Greasy,
so many,
tons of them, right? And for some people, power, changes you a bit, right? It happens. But the fact is, they didn't fire him because he slept with the woman. They fired him because they didn't win. And now they have an excuse to get rid of a coach that failed against Ohio State for the first time, to be fair, in his short head coaching career.
He upset him last year. He might have been one and done.
Might have saved his job last year.
But he saved his job last year.
And they had a good season, for sure.
But not a great season.
Not a great season. A team that came in after paying a quarterback $10 million, Underwood, to become their next, a great quarterback. Didn't live up to expectations, and the team did not live up to expectations. We're a national championship. So if you want to fire a guy that you truly believe is not really the right guy, you got to find a reason to do it.
Right. He's an offensive coach, and the offense has been the weakness of the team.
The one thing, to be fair to Michigan, that they never could have predicted or seen, because they obviously sat on the information waiting for the season to end, and I go to my grave believing that. Oh, yeah. I don't care if they deny it or anything else, but that's just what I believe. The one thing they never could have predicted would be, how is the man going to react when we fire him for cause? Some people take their ball and go home. Some people say, you'll hear from my lawyer, this is unacceptable.
Right.
Some people try to make it about something else, right? Some other excuse that you might come up with. But nobody could have predicted that he would drive to the girl's house, allegedly take out a knife, allegedly threaten to kill her, and then take his own life. That's crazy talk.
It's insane. And
that alone, and I hate to say this because I'm obviously a firm believer in second chances and third chances, depending on what the crime is.
Right. And the punishment.
I don't think you can hire him now anywhere.
Not as a head coach for sure. And I don't. What does it say?
This is crazy now. This is beyond a jilted lover saying something stupid or even doing something that you understand, but it's stupid. If he held a knife to his throat and threatened to kill her and then take his own life, he's unstable.
Yeah.
It's a mental illness, whatever it is. But you can't hire that guy. If you're, I don't even know what jobs are left open. But if you were, Penn State, you can't hire that guy.
No, absolutely not. But
you can't sell that guy to your fan base.
But you couldn't even hire him at North Texas. They're losing their coach. Tulane, they're losing their coach. You couldn't hire him there.
No, because how do you explain to the boosters that this is the guy to be the face of your athletic department?
You can't.
Now, it'd be funny. There's rumors that Alabama's going to lose their head coach, right?
That's the rumor.
Yeah, all right. So
he would leave voluntarily.
Yes. Now, look, Alabama's in the tournament, so nothing's happening until they win it all, and then he's safe and gets a new contract, or gets embarrassed in the first round of the tournament, and then DeBoer's gone, right?
Yeah.
So just play it out, because I've got the answer here. If Alabama's an early exit in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama's like, all right, we need to find a new head coach.
Yeah.
If I'm Michigan, wouldn't you hire him in a second?
Absolutely.
All right, so that takes care of the Michigan job.
Boom.
All right, DeBoer goes from Alabama to Michigan.
Yep.
Now, Alabama, which is not even arguably the greatest spot to be a head coach, now has an opening.
Yeah.
But it would seem all the top candidates have already picked their places, right?
They have.
Signetti's staying in Indiana.
Yep.
What's his name? Went to Penn State, right? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Campbell. Yeah.
Campbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got the guy.
Oh, boy.
I got the guy.
Who?
I got the guy.
Well.
The guy. So again, play this out. Moore's gone to Michigan.
Yeah.
DeBoer gets fired at Alabama.
Or leave.
Michigan pivots and hires him. So they're straight. And now Alabama, the greatest football program you could ever be the head coach of, has an opening. And it's not the return of Nick Saban. No. Nick Saban might make sense in Michigan, but he's not going back to Alabama.
Right.
All right? Is it not obvious to everybody?
No. I mean, I don't want you to say it.
I'm going to say what's obvious.
Uh-huh. Who's it, Brian Dable?
And it's not Brian Dable.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
And it's not John Gruden.
It's not Gruden?
No.
Not Gruden?
And it's not Bill Belichick.
Belichick coming over from North Carolina. He got a lot of talent already built in there.
I tell you who I would call if I was Alabama.
Who?
He's already worked on their staff before.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Texas. You call it Texas for Sarkisian.
Sarkisian ain't leaving Texas either.
Oh, well, I'm saying
right.
He worked on the staff.
He worked on the staff. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. No, I'm not going there either.
Come on.
There's another guy that worked on the Alabama staff.
Oh, Oregon's coach. That's
about
what you're
6
call.
years ago.
Or Oregon's coach. That's what you're
Not Lanning, no.
Lanning was there. Lanning was on the Alabama staff.
You're right. No, it ain't him either.
All right.
I pick up the phone if I'm Alabama, assuming DeBoer goes to Michigan. I call Lane Kiffin up.
Come on. Come on.
You know Lane Kiffin says yes.
Of course he does.
I don't know what the buyout would be.
$20 million.
I don't know. Is that he had for a $20 million check?
Alabama would have to write it.
No.
Alabama would have to write it.
He would have to write a check to LSU to get out of that deal.
Alabama.
Lane Kiffin. Goodbye, LSU. Hello, Alabama. Let's make it happen.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. The Lions will make the playoffs this season. Buy or sell?
I believe that's what the computer tells us, right? They are almost exactly 50-50 to make the playoffs now after that win. Now, it's sort of the game I'm going to play here when we talk about the Cowboys making the playoffs. If you're going to put Detroit in, Craig, who are you taking out? All right? I mean, they're not, even with the win last night, they're not in the playoff spot right now. They're still the 8th seed here. You taking out San Fran? I mean, their schedule's cake. They should get in. Green Bay beat you twice. I mean, so you would probably need, for them to make the playoffs, Seattle's the other team, by the way, I think Seattle gets in. You would need Green Bay or Chicago, really, what they're ready for is one to beat the other. They do play each other twice, to beat them twice, right? They can't have a split here. They need either Chicago to beat Green Bay twice or Green Bay to beat Chicago twice, sort of eliminate the other team. So I am probably selling this. I do think there's a chance here. You look at the Lions' schedule, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago, the last two are on the road.
Yeah, I think that I'm on board here with you. In the AFC, Detroit would be in. But in the NFC, you have to make a prediction to knock a team out. Now, like as an example, in the NFC East, could you see a scenario, George, where Philadelphia just completely falls apart like they did 2 years ago? Sure, but then they still would win the division. Like you really can't find a path for the Lions unless, for me, I guess the team that I would question the most to make it and knock them out would be the Bears. Like that would be it. It would be just the Bears playing the softer schedule. I know they beat Philadelphia last week, but I just can't do it right now. So unfortunately, this could be a 11-win season, 10-win season for Detroit without them getting in. I will sell. They will not make it. I'm with you here.
Fantasy Sports Today, Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Michigan is now saying that they actually did an investigation during the season And then once Michigan was eliminated, that investigation then picked up. And that's when they started looking more into the somewhat erratic behavior, apparently, allegedly, of the coach, in which he was acting differently. He was, there was a quote-unquote, a lot of uneasiness on the Michigan staff, berating assistant coaches, not acting in a normal way. And Michigan did do an investigation mid-season when they got word that this might be going on. As we already said, they knew. This isn't a surprise to anybody at Michigan. They knew. Moore was 18-8 in his 2 seasons as head coach, 9-3 this year, which is very respectable. It may not be good enough for Michigan, but the guy's not an incompetent head coach. 9-3 was a decent year, just not a good enough year. And then they decided that they wanted a better coach. Yeah. I don't know who you go get, unless you go into Urban Meyer or you're bringing back an old head or something like that. But they're now looking for a coach, so there's more on that coming up.
Yeah, and there's rumors. Apparently they're going to call Vandy. They're going to call Arizona State.
Yeah, maybe they should call Notre Dame. See if Marcus Freeman wants to leave Notre Dame.
Apparently that call already happened.
Is that right?
Yes.
I told you from Jump Street 3 months ago that he is not leaving Notre Dame. Even though Michigan's a great job, Notre Dame's a great job also. Speaking of Notre Dame, by the way, despite the fact that they're soft and yellow-bellied and refuse to play BYU in a bowl game because we can't win a national championship. So we're going to take our ball and go home. We're afraid of competition at Notre Dame, which really pisses me off because I want to see Notre Dame play BYU. I want them to flex afterwards and say, see, the committee messed up. Like when you win the NIT, something like that. You're right? In any event, Notre Dame is now trying to change the narrative on them backing out of playing in a bowl game. And they're doing it under the guise of charity. Because if you do something for charity, Tyrone, nobody can be critical of what you're doing. That's the idea behind it.
That's the idea.
That's the only reason they're doing it.
But I don't know this charity, so I'm going to see if I can manage to criticize.
So Notre Dame announces, after second thought, we're going bowling after all.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
okay. Oh, they gonna play BYU or Georgia Tech? Somebody, because Georgia Tech's playing BYU.
I know, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe they said, you know what, this is not great for our fans or our graduating seniors or the coaching staff. You know what? We're gonna play one more game.
Great.
We're gonna tell Georgia Tech to pound sand. We're playing BYU, and the NCAA would make that happen. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great.
I was like, they finally did the right thing here, right?
Yeah.
Nah, they're not doing the right thing. They're having a bowling tournament.
Wait.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So they announced we're going bowling, and people like me are like, all right, finally, Notre Dame did the right thing, right?
Yeah.
And they do it under the guise of we're raising money for charity, which, again, is a great thing to do. But we're not stupid. Like, you can move the target all you want. Doesn't change how we feel about things. You're soft. Notre Dame is soft.
You're soft. And bowling, so how does that help also the thousands and thousands and thousands of Notre Dame fans out there?
Doesn't.
What's it do for the fans?
Doesn't.
Because let's say there's 20 lanes at the bowling alley.
Yeah. That's a small bowling alley.
I mean, 20 lanes is not that small. These new nice ones.
Nah.
The new because they got a big bar area.
At least 50.
Nice there. And the arcade.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Laser tag.
You're in Indiana. Yeah. So you got 90 players.
Yeah.
We putting 4 players to a lane? Like, how do I get nothing from that as a fan? Nothing.
Well, I don't think, are the fans invited to the bowling tournament?
Well, they should. How they raising money? Somebody has to be there to give money.
I got no idea.
How are you going to raise money?
It's weak sauce from Notre Dame. I can tell you that.
You know what? I got a real problem with Notre Dame now.
Yeah, so do I, by the way.
I went back to loving them, and now I hate them again.
Another story that's out there right now. I told you there's more to that Ipe story, the interpreter for Otani, and I'm the only one that keeps chirping about the fact that Ipe's got a payday coming when he gets out of prison, and I'm convinced, no proof at all, no facts at all, nothing at all, that there's more to that gambling story that we've been told. Whether or not Otani gambled, there's no doubt in my mind that he knew about it. Whether or not he gambled again, I don't know. They've all said he hasn't. But the cable channel Stars, which is like a poor man's HBO and Showtime, right? They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show.
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter.
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that. I told you that guy's got a payday coming his way.
Well, I can't knock his hustle. He's doing hard time right now.
He's probably in a federal prison camp. Not that it's still prison. Yeah. Don't get that twisted. He ain't playing golf and tennis all day. He is in prison, but there's no doubt in my mind he's got a pot of gold at the end of that prison rainbow waiting for him. This just proves it.
Well, absolutely. And why has he been so tight-lipped? Because remember, he went from he knew, as you said, to complete silence.
In 24 hours, by the way.
Complete silence.
He's like, yeah, he knew I took all that money. The lawyers got involved. I did it on my own. I stole from him. He had no idea. I'm a horrible human being. Lock me up now and throw away the key. Except I want a payday. So Ipe's getting that payday. It's just in a very unique way. Coming up, the New York Mets and Pete Alonso. Uh-oh.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Chris Beard said, I can just play different players. And kudos to Chris Beard. NIL does not matter. Recruiting rankings don't matter. Who your AAU coaches doesn't matter. At the end of the day as a coach, your loyalty is to your school. Your loyalty is to all the kids in the program.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. The big baseball news yesterday that really shocked New York Met fans is that Pete Alonso signs a huge 5-year, $155 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles. So one of the Mets fans' favorite players of all time will not end his career as a New York Met. Met fans, rightfully so, by the way, are going apoplectic. But there's two different aspects to the story. There's the baseball aspect to the story. Was this a good baseball decision? And then there's a separate side of the story, which is the relationship between the owner and the fans, all right?
Yeah.
So I think we got to separate those two things. From a baseball standpoint, Pete Alonso got overpaid. And good for him. Great for him. Guaranteed money, $155 million over 5 years, right?
All right, so tell me why you think why that's overpay in this modern baseball.
Because Pete Alonso, unfortunately, is a sub-average defensive player.
True.
And he did, to his credit, and I know Pete well personally for a long time, he did have a great year. Batted .270 at 40-plus doubles, had the home runs. Yep. Great. The problem is that he's just, how do I say this? It's great that he plays every day. That's like a dying thing in sports.
Played every single game. Last 2 seasons.
The guy doesn't take days off. But 3 years from now, that's a bad contract. Is that fair?
Well, it depends. If he's Kyle Schwarber, no. Kyle Schwarber's better at 33 than he was at 30.
You think as a righty he's going to hit 50 home runs in Baltimore? 45 home runs in Baltimore?
I'm saying that he's, with his work ethic.
Yeah.
It's not a given anymore in modern baseball that players worse at 33 than they were at 30.
So
he's only 31.
All right, let me even change course then. Let me even say it's not a bad deal.
Okay.
All right, it's not a bad deal.
It may be. I'm just saying that it's not a lock in today's game.
Fair enough. It's not a horrendous deal, and good for Pete that he got it, okay?
Yeah.
From a baseball standpoint, with Pete Alonso having a great year last year, did the New York Mets win the World Series?
They did not.
Did the New York Mets get to the NLCS?
Absolutely.
Did the New York Mets get to the NLDS?
No.
Were the New York Mets in the wild card?
No.
They didn't make the playoffs, right?
Right.
So the notion of let's run it back for the 8th year with Pete Alonso at first base, batting on average 250, and yes, hitting 40 home runs a year every single year is great. How do you sell that to the fans? We're running back the same crap that has never won a World Series. Like, why would I want that if I'm a baseball fan, right?
Right.
So the issue now is they traded Brandon Nimmo. They get Marcus Semien from the Rangers, all right?
Right.
Nimmo, fan favorite.
Fan favorite, for sure.
Edwin Diaz, fan favorite. Last 6.5 years for the Mets, arguably the best closer in the National League. They let him go.
Yep.
Fans got pissed off. And now the coup de grace, the number one Met for all Met fans today is Pete Alonso. So the Met fan is taking it bam, bam, bam on the chin. It's a body blow if you're a Met fan because 3 of your favorite players are gone. Put aside the baseball aspect of that for a second.
Yeah.
Because to me, the baseball aspect of that is, what did you win with those guys? Nothing.
You did not win a World Series with those guys.
You didn't get to a World Series.
No, you got to.
Okay? 2015, you got to the World Series, all right? And lost to the Kansas City Royals. You've been a playoff team, sure.
You've been to the NLCS.
Okay. The idea is to win.
It is.
So are they popular? Yes. Did they win? No. But here's where the Mets did make a mistake, in my opinion. And it's the relationship the owner claimed to have or thought he had with the fan base. When Steve Cohen bought the Mets 5 years ago, he told Met fans, I'm one of you. I bleed orange and blue. I will not rest until we get a World Series championship because you deserve it. And he guaranteed one in the first 5 years, and obviously that didn't happen. But last year, after getting Juan Soto, Steve Cohen went after the Met fan, and he demanded that they start buying more tickets. Their attendance was not great the year before. And Steve Cohen challenged Met fans and said, if I do my part, you better do your part. And he got Soto. And guess what Met fans did? They set a record last year. 3.2 million Met fans went to Citi Field to watch the Mets play. That's a new record for the New York Mets.
And that's tremendous.
Okay?
That's tremendous.
Now Met fans are saying, well, you challenged us, you scolded us, and we stepped up to the plate. We all bought tickets in record numbers. And what do we get in return for our support of your team? We didn't make the playoffs. We got rid of Brandon Nimmo. We got rid of Edwin Diaz. We got rid of or allowed Pete Alonso to go. We're not buying tickets this year.
You cut the payroll.
Because you screwed us.
Yeah, you cut the payroll.
So you're going to see attendance drop by 10 to 20%. And for the first time in his short stewardship as Mets owner, Steve Cohen, for the first time, has lost the fan base.
Now, let me ask you this, though, and I'm not going to dispute anything you said about that at all.
Sorry, you can argue, was it a good baseball move?
We'll find out.
There's a conversation to be had about that.
But
do I want 36-year-old Pete Alonso making $30 million a year? That's an argument, right?
It's an argument.
But you can't argue the fan support. You can't argue that the fans have their favorite players that they want to see win here. And when you challenge fans and they show up and buy tickets in record numbers, and you reward them by not only missing the playoffs, by then getting rid of the 3 most popular players on the roster, you've lost the fan base, rightfully so. If Met fans are bitching today, and they should be, and yesterday, they're right.
But then is there something he can do to add? Because the winter meetings have been going on, and the troubling part for me as an outsider is not only are they losing guys, they don't appear to be in the mix for any replacement.
Look, I think
you can part with Alonso, as you said. Okay, you don't want to pay him at 36. Who are you going to pay first base this year?
Right. So look, right now their payroll's $270 million for next year. My gut is they go up to $350. All right, which means another $70 or $80 million. Here's the problem with that. If I told you that Paul Goldschmidt was their starting first baseman next year,
that's not an
are
upgrade.
you going to be moist about that?
No, because that's not an upgrade. That's a downgrade on the field.
Correct.
That's a downgrade.
Right. If I told you Kyle Tucker's a Met next year, okay.
That's something.
At least you're starting.
Right. And he's a righty back to replace the righty back you
My butt
lost.
still hurts.
Yes.
I'm still not buying season tickets.
And you don't love Tucker. Right. You love Alonso.
If Alex Bregman became a Met next year, okay. Good player.
Yeah.
No doubt. But my butt still hurts.
Unfortunately, yes.
Right?
Right.
And that's the thing. They've lost sight of the very tenuous relationship the owner has with the fan base. It's tenuous. And right now, and I'm 100% behind the Met fans right now who are going apoplectic about losing Pete Alonso yesterday. And here's why. The Mets didn't even try. The Mets never made him an offer. Now, I can tell you as a fact, they were never going to match that offer. They were never going to go past 3 years for Pete Alonso, make up the numbers. But the fact that you never picked up the phone and called Scott Boras up and said, here's our best offer. Let Pete say no to it, but we're going to make it.
Right.
They never did that. Now, to be fair, because it's not 100-0 here, 2 years ago, Steve Cohen offered Pete Alonso 7-year deal for $160 million. And Pete said no to it. Maybe the owner's feelings got hurt. Maybe his ego got hurt. I don't know. But Pete Alonso did what good players do. In a contract year, he had a great year, which he did not do 2 years ago, which is why there was no market for him 2 years ago. And the Mets gave him the 2-year, $54 million deal with the 1 year out, and he took the out. But you have now lost the fan base. Steve Cohen and David Stearns are persona non grata right now in the moment. Now, like you said, and you're right, that could change. If they acquire 3 or 4 guys that make you happy about the roster, great. But the relationship for now is ruined between Steve Cohen and the diehard Met fan base. And the diehard Met fan base, who has sold a bill of goods when Steve Cohen bought the team, that the Wilpon days are over, that it's about championships, and I will spend to get every guy you want me to get, that's over. It's over. The honeymoon is over. And maybe, I don't know, and I'm not suggesting I know this as a fact, I don't. Maybe this was all about getting the casino. And now that he got the casino, Met fans can take a hike. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Everyone has just been lying about this whole thing. Okay. Of the top 15 teams in the country, there are 4 total losses to unranked football teams. Miami has half of them.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Nobody bats 300 anymore because the value of hitting a fly ball, which could eventually become a home run, is so much more valuable. It's when the shift in the NBA went from 2-pointers to 3-pointers. Well, if I can make 40% of my threes, I'm just going to jack threes all over the place. There's more value in that. Well, there's more value in just like ripping driver most of the time.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
We
just can't quit Josh Allen. He's at a 16% chance. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, don't count Lamar out. The Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen. And then there's those Kansas City Chiefs. But I got to tell you, Joe, you see how we're going lower and lower on this list right here? I'm telling you, a nice little wild card down there. You plunk $100 back and get paid $1,429 back on Houston Texans.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as well. Some news and notes for you. They have announced who's going to coach Michigan in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
I think it's a Citrus Bowl, right?
I believe that's the case.
What is it, like the Chick-fil-A Citrus Bowl or something like that?
Yeah, they all have sponsors.
It's Michigan versus Texas, which, again, should be a really good game, right?
It should be a fun game, yeah.
The new head coach or interim head coach for Michigan is a guy named Biff.
Yeah, Biff.
Biff Poggi.
Yeah,
look at my guy right
Biff,
there.
like from Back to the Future?
Yeah, look at my guy right there. If that doesn't reek of I know he's Big Ten, but that's got SEC written all over it.
Yeah, it does.
Look at them ham hocks on his chest.
Let me tell you. Now, that's a guy that will sit there and talk football with you all day.
Oh, yeah. I remember back in the day when Newt Rockne was carrying the load for us.
he does a lot of interviews with the cigar still in his mouth.
Hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah, he just does
dirty
the
wet
interview,
cigar. Yeah, that right
there.
That's my new favorite head coach in football. I hope they beat Texas by 30 and he gets the job. A head coach named Biff.
That guy
who's 300 pounds with man boobs like that.
Let me tell you,
man, you could feed a small nation.
Yeah, he could. My dad would say, "Yeah, you should go with him. You can trust him. You can trust. He only cares about football. You can tell he don't have other interests.
That is not a guy that cares about anything but football.
He will make sure you are coached up.
I don't know anything about his background, but I love that guy right there.
Yeah, me too.
I want that guy to coach Syracuse.
He's ready.
Fred Brown. Anyhow, yeah. So that's the guy that's going to be coaching Michigan against Texas because of this crazy, sordid story with Sherrone Moore again. Having an affair. They know about it. They don't do anything about it. Then he allegedly threatens to kill himself and her. There's other allegations. She might have gotten pregnant with him.
That's an allegation.
And abortions. Again, allegations.
Yeah.
I am not using her name. I will not use her name until the stuff comes out and it's proven. And I'm not protecting her because she's a minor. She's not. Or even a 20-year-old.
Yeah, no.
She's a 31-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Like, she knows better also. So she has to eat some of this as well. My guess is she will eventually be fired as well. They probably don't fire her yet because there's laws against that.
Yeah, because
she's a subordinate.
Yeah, the power dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's safe for now, but she's going to be sitting in a closet, by herself, given zero responsibilities. And not only that, think about it from that perspective too, especially in the world we live in now. Social media, everyone has seen her picture now. I'm sure she's being doxxed, and swatted, and people know where she lives and all that stuff. I know she's shut down all of her social media, and hopefully she's home and she's safe.
Hopefully.
But the way the world works now is, I'm concerned for her because Michigan football fans are going to view her as the woman that blew up our football program.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. Like, she's a part of it. Sherrone Moore's got to take responsibility for it as well.
Of course.
But I know how people on the phone and internet work, and it's going to be nonstop in her direction. And I do feel for her in that regard.
Yeah, hopefully she has family somewhere else other than Michigan.
Yeah,
maybe it'd be best to voluntarily, because they can't put.
I think her dad's an NFL scout.
It might be best to move. And I mean that.
Or just go stay with a friend or something.
Yeah, just get away.
You got to disappear. I know, look, they're out of school right now, which is great. No classes right now. They have a month off. So no one's on campus either right now. But I am concerned about her well-being because, people are. So you want to make sure she's safe and good, too. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. The video came out. It's the exact video I wanted. The starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, Phillip Rivers.
This is ridiculous.
You guys have the video? I think we have video of him out there practicing. Old man Rivers at 44 years old.
With Daddy Dime's number. And that's a cold game.
There you go.
I mean, look at it. Even in practice, he can't wear a 7 instead. But anyway, there he is.
There he is.
Oh,
by the way,
goodness.
Hold on. Let's just see. Fake handoff. Oh, still throws a tight spiral. Wide open running back.
Yeah, but you know what I'm noticing?
What?
Not taking any hits there.
Of course he's not taking any hits. By the way, if I'm the Colts, I come out of the gate, go deep.
On the first play?
First play out of the gate, because what they're expecting. hand off to Taylor, hand off to Taylor. No. I go play action pass out of the gate. I send somebody deep. Go deep. I'll throw it. I'll get it to you.
I mean, but you then put him in harm's way. That guy
he's playing football.
He hasn't taken a hit in 5 years.
I know. He's going to get hurt tomorrow.
I just don't know how you survive being serious, and I'm concerned for his safety. And he has the Texans left on that schedule. Did you see how fearsome that Texas defense is?
I want to be clear. I would not play him against the Texans. I would not.
They're crushing quarterback.
Yeah, he's not. Look, here's the reality. He might be one and done. The Achilles could go. The hammy could go. He might get killed.
I mean, concussion protocol. This man has not taken a hit other than playing with his many children in the backyard.
I didn't see the terms of the contract. I assume it's minimum.
Yeah. Well, he's technically practice squad, and they can just elevate him for game day. So it is the minimum.
So he's making maybe he makes a couple $100,000 for the game. And by all accounts, Phillip Rivers doesn't need the money.
No,
he has a beautiful farm somewhere in the Midwest, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
I'm worried about his safety in all seriousness.
But you know how it was interesting how, like when Shadur Sanders first got in, I told you with no rooting interest at all, and it's a bad football team. But I just have this weird sense of I got to see what he looks like. I want to watch him play to see if I was right, to see if I was wrong, and to see if the kids got it. And while I watched less, to be fair, against the Titans this past week, the first 2 starts he had, I was all over it. I wanted to see, right? I feel the same way about Phillip Rivers. Like, how do you're not going to watch the whole game, obviously, but if you have red zone, and most of us do, like my red zone game is going to be the Colt game. I got to see because what's the spread of that game?
It was 11.5. Let me see if it's changed.
All right, so they're double-digit underdogs in this game.
Now it's,
all right.
I'm seeing now 13.5.
Right, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Like, what could you imagine if Phillip Rivers stops the losing streak? Like, they're 8-5 right now.
They're
a loss away from being out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're barely hanging on to the 7th seed right now. They're playing against a very good defensive team on the road, very tough place to play, against a team that might be the number 1 seed in the NFC. If Old Man Rivers shows up and dots it all over the place and lights that Seahawks defense up, that's going to be the greatest story in football.
Oh, you don't have to do a movie. Yeah, they might as well have the Ipe guy go do that movie. That's
they
a movie.
Have to do
5 years out of the sport, you're about to maybe go in the Hall of Fame. You come back and win.
It'd be awesome.
On the road.
And then final thing for you. You know, this World Cup, which is being played, some of the games being played in our backyard here in New Jersey. Yeah, we all know the ticket price story. It's like $5,000 face value ticket. Yeah. Like, they don't want real soccer fans going to these games. I saw the hotel prices for the games as well. So, for example, USA Paraguay, Avalon Beverly Hills, $1,600 a night. Scotland Haiti at the Moxie Hotel downtown Boston, $3,000 a night. Mexico City, damn near $4,000 a night. And the Hampton Inn in New Jersey, which is a hooker's paradise.
$200.
$1,800
Come on.
for one night.
Come on.
What?
And FanDuel are getting ready to launch their own prediction market, so Polymarket will be coming back at a time when, you know, the competitive landscape is dominated by Kalshi, and soon it's going to have FanDuel and DraftKings in there as well, which I'm really eager to see what their products look like and how the timing kind of impacts the use of Polymarket. Will it be number 1 in the App Store for the next couple months? Who knows?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
You've got an 18-1-6 hockey team. You've got a 10-2 football team. So the best record in hockey, the best record in football, and top 5 in the NBA with Jokic and the gang, and the Nuggets at 14-6. And I'm saying to myself, what other town comes close to that?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
We just can't quit Josh Allen. He's at a 16% chance. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, don't count Lamar out. The Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen. And then there's those Kansas City Chiefs. But I got to tell you, Joe, you see how we're going lower and lower on this list right here? I'm telling you, a nice little wild card down there. You plunk $100 back and get paid $1,429 back on Houston Texans.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Just got some bad news. I'm sorry to end the show on a downer, Tyrone. By the way, welcome back, sure, to the Craig Carton Show. I mean, what's the point of even being here anymore? I live in the great state of New Jersey, a state that gets a bad rap. Tyrone also lives in the great state of New Jersey, a state that gets a bad rap.
Yep.
But today the bad rap is well-deserved, Tyrone, because the person you voted for, your people,
you don't know who I voted for.
Yeah, I know who you voted for.
You know who I didn't vote for. You don't know who I voted for.
Your people, the people you support in politics, in 2026, the state of New Jersey is officially banning plastic utensils.
This is stupid.
No more sporks.
Stupid.
No more little white knives.
Stupid.
No more little white forks.
Stupid.
Cannot get a plastic utensil in the once great state of New Jersey because of the people you voted for.
Well, you don't know who I voted for.
Great job, Tyrone.
But I'll say this. The bags I was on board with, and I actually prefer it now.
I want the bags back, too.
I don't want the bags back.
I like the double bag at the grocery store.
I like my bags now. I got used to that.
I want paper and plastic at a grocery store.
The straws are the worst.
I'm with you on that. No one wants an avocado straw.
Stupid straws.
Right.
And this is also stupid.
Well, why'd you vote for it?
I didn't vote. I just told you I didn't vote for it, and he out loud said he didn't like me. That's his fault. Okay, don't tell me out loud you don't care about me if you want me to vote for you. That's why he lost 99% of black people in New Jersey. It was his own fault. He announced it. Next question. I don't want to talk about black people. Yuck. That's his fault. But I will say this. The biggest problem is with all of this is it doesn't do anything because the plastic utensils don't cause the environmental problems that they're out there. They don't cause it. It's not them.
I love the plastic utensils because I don't have to do dishes.
Right, you get to use them. Now, I will admit, there's times with a fork,
it's too flimsy.
It's too flimsy. Like give me a good one. They're as useless as those napkins.
I agree.
In the pizza
but it's
shop.
still nice to have them.
You gotta have them.
We're locked
in
up
a
on
pinch.
that. Yeah, just a sad day for us that live in New Jersey. Bucks tonight, Tampa, favored by 5.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Look, it's a must-win game now for Tampa. They've lost 5 of 6, I think is the number right now.
In Carolina.
And they got everybody back. All their wide receivers are back now. And Bucky's back too. Carolina's right there with them. So if you think you're winning, I think the 5th consecutive division title, you better get off the schneid tonight. If you lose to Atlanta, the Buccaneers are not making the playoffs.
I agree.
I stand by that statement. So also not a great game. No. I'm not expecting a great game. Atlanta stinks. Hopefully you get Baker Mayfield at his best. And maybe you get a little shootout there. But again, this is a must-win game. It's a playoff game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Period. Stop.
And Carolina's playing the Saints, a game they should win. Not automatic win, but that's a game they should win.
Yeah, the Saints are tricky every now and then. They get that to shuff the quarterback.
Yeah, he's doing some stuff.
I think maybe he could play a little bit.
Yeah, he might be all right. And the game is in New Orleans, but if they lose, there's a chance where they're out of there by Sunday night.
But this is must-win. All these games now, if you're a tweener, a team out right there, you got to win all these games. You know, you can't afford another loss because the only way in for a team like Tampa is a division title. They are not getting in as a wild card. Neither is Carolina. Yeah. So it's going to come down to which one of those two teams wins. I still favor Tampa now that they're healthy, but they've not played great, including Baker Mayfield. They have not been great offensively. So we'll see what happens tonight. I'll obviously be watching the game. We'll be all over it and the playoff ramifications tomorrow on the show. Quick note, I suppose I should bring this up now. I mentioned at the top of the show, those of you that watch this show who are fans of mine specifically, I recognize a lot of you love Tyrone as well, are well aware of the news that was made official yesterday in the radio world that I am returning to WFAN radio in New York City. Number one, it has zero impact on us doing this show. I think it actually helps more people find this show as well. So all good there. But Tyrone and I are not going anywhere. We have a long-term commitment with the company that employs us here, and they have a long-term commitment to us. So the Craig Carton Show podcast that you're watching right now, we're going to be here for a long time. But yes, I am returning to WFAN. I'll be doing Afternoon Drive again from 2 to 6 with Chris McMonagle, who for the last 2.5 years has been the overnight guy, was my board op assistant producer when I did Carton and Roberts. And for me, I'm blessed. I recognize that this is a third opportunity to work at my favorite radio station growing up, and one that I always aspired to work at, and one that I had my greatest success at with Boomer for 10 years, from 2007 to 17, and then with Evan in afternoons, Carton and Roberts, from 2020 to early 23. And now I've got an amazing opportunity to do it again. And it was too good an opportunity for me to say no to. I am very respectful and sensitive to the fact that there are other people in that building that are losing their jobs. Some as a direct result of my return, some for other reasons altogether. And I appreciate how tough it is for them and their families, and I'm very sensitive to that. And there's nothing I can say about it other than you're very talented, and I truly hope that you land on your feet and get another amazing opportunity in your chosen profession. That being said, I'm thrilled for the opportunity. I can't wait to get started. January 5th is the launch date of the new show. It's me and Chris McMonagle, and it's the one thing I know in life that I do really well. And this show made me realize how much I miss it, and I'm thrilled to be back and appreciate your continued support for what it is that I do.